So the differences between area under the curve or AUC-based monitoring and trough monitoring there's a few different things. So area under the curve takes into account the concentration of the total dosing interval. It will typically be over a 24-hour period that the concentration is evaluated essentially. And this actually will typically take into account the minimum inhibitory concentration, or the MIC, of the organism, which is essential for the concentration and the total pharmacodynamic endpoint. Trough-based monitoring only takes into account the very end of the dosing interval at the concentration at that point, so it's a poor estimation of the total overall concentration of the drug in the person's body. We set out to evaluate in our study the cost comparison of the trough versus AUC-based monitoring methods, and we did so because the new guidelines that will likely be published at the end of 2019 are essentially recommending monitoring area under the curve or AUC-based methodology rather than trough-based methodology in the previous guidelines recommendations. To our understanding, there have been no studies directly comparing these two monitoring methods, so that's why we set out to establish this first initial study. The comparison of cost between both groups, we essentially found that there was no difference in cost. Our median total vancomycin drug and monitoring cost for our AUC methodology group was $338.14 compared to $316.79 in the trough-based group, and that was not a statistically significant result. Based on our findings, the biggest takeaway would be that this new monitoring method, which potentially takes into account another additional vancomycin concentration, is actually no difference in cost for many institutions. And we also found that because of the additional concentration that needs to be obtained other than just a trough, there was actually no difference in terms of the total number of vancomycin concentrations that were obtained throughout the entire treatment course for the patient, which is important for many providers to remember.